Welcome, I'm Faz Rahman and you're watching Cafe DC. Our guest today is a hugely successful Muslim American who came here in this country at the tender age of 15 and made it big. Now he's not just a successful entrepreneur and a businessman, but also a very effective philanthropist. He's here with us. Let's welcome Frank Islam.
Frank, thank you very much,
for
Joe,
joining
for taking the time to talk with me.
Absolutely.
I appreciated that very much.
Very good. Let's talk about your recent visit to India. You fly with presidents, you host senators, vice president at your house. So you went to India as a part of the official delegation of Mr. Obama. What happened there?
Well, the White House asked me a week before his trip to India to be part of the delegations, which included the non-CEO of the United States, which included the Pepsi-Cola CEO, Indra Nooyi, and also the Marriott, Westinghouse, and the Honeywell. I was humbled and honored to attend the India CEO Summit Conference and also to attend the Republic Day celebrations. So we got there and we met the Prime Minister Modi and we talked about some of the recommendations that we made in order for India to attract the foreign investment. But I will tell you one thing, there was a sense of hope and optimism in the air when we got there. And it was not a symbolic, it had a lot of substance in it. It was just not a photo op. And Prime Minister is very smart and savvy. He's very much a business oriented. And there was a feeling that we need to strengthen, broaden, and deepen our engagement with India because of the fact that we have shared interests, shared values, and also what's important is to make sure that India become an economic partner with the United States. And for that matter, they can change the landscape of the world. So the recommendation that we made is it's a little bit difficult to do business with India, so make it easier to do business and also economic reforms and reduce the paperwork it takes to get something done, and also the improve and invest in infrastructure and invest also in the workforce, which is not very trained, and also the judiciary system is very ancient and old, and also to make sure that we can protect the capital investment that you make, and also the IPR, intellectual property right, and the most important thing we talked about, the cutting the red tape, which takes forever to get it done.
Frank, when a president goes to any country, for that matter, it's not just for that country, because the U.S. president carries lots of weight and significance for the region. Did you feel that when the president spoke, he just didn't speak for the Indians or to the Indians, he was also speaking
to the world community.
To the world community.
No question about that.
And of course, he did talk about tolerance. And then when he came back after a few days at the National Breakfast Prayer Day, he also spoke about India and tolerance, the need of tolerance. What was your take when he said something about tolerance in their society? Especially we know the Prime Minister comes from a party which has been known, quote unquote.
So let's talk about the religious intolerance. I am a Muslim American. I'm a Muslim also from India, so I take a lot of pride being to share in terms of my heritage, my history, who I am, where I come from. There have been several cases that we understand from the press that there was some conversion from Christian and to the Hindus and the Muslims to Hindus. And the president
forced conversion.
Forced conversion, that's what I was told. I do not know the fact, but that's what we heard. That's what we heard from the press. And the president spoke about the intolerance because the fact the president wants now to deviate their attention from economy so that they can concentrate on that. And also it breeds violence. Any times you do not give equal opportunity to all because of the caste, creed, religion, race, and background and belief. It creates extremism. It does not create exceptionalism. It also breeds the violence. And the president lived in Indonesia, so he has a pretty good understanding of the religion tolerance. And so he spoke, and I think it was very well taken, very well taken by the audience, by the people, and by all over the world. And also the fact that the president spoke in a sense that it is important for, if India wants to advance their economy, wants to live in peace and harmony, they live in peace and harmony for thousands of years, they must give equal opportunity to all and exploit the fullest potential of the minorities. And the Prime Minister, after about 2 weeks after the president left, he spoke.
He also made that
he made that comments, and I think that there are some elements in the BJP party. There are saffron client people who has made this kind of a statement, and I think this is not this is not the fabric, the social, economic, and political fabric of India. India has always stood for democracy and diversity and secularism. And as the president said, that Mahatma Gandhi would not have been pleased if we were living today in terms of the religious intolerance that was going on in India. Right. So I'm very pleased the president spoke. I'm very pleased the prime minister spoke, and I think we need to just move forward with this.
About this country, you've been on so many organizations, so many philanthropist organizations, your universities, art centers, colleges, foundations. What it feels like to be first, yes, being so successful, you founded one single company with one single employee, probably just yourself, right? And then it became a 2,000 employee company in a very short period of time. You sold it for probably hundreds of millions of dollars, right? And then, but you didn't stop there. You're also involved in so many businesses right now. But you're doing a lot of other work at the same time, and that's philanthropy. So give us some insight into what you're doing right now.
Okay. Well, I think those are a lot of good questions that you asked.
Combined so many of them in one.
So I'll try to answer as much as I can. The important aspect is that the success in business is a team sport. It was not I who made it happen. It's the people that I surrounded. They made it happen. So. I'm not good in giving advice to the people, but what made me successful is getting a good education, and also the second thing is willing to take a risk, becoming an entrepreneur, and surround yourself with the good and talented individuals who share your vision and values, and be engaged and involved in the business. So after I sold the business in 2007 to Perot, as you said, I grew the company from one employee to several thousand employees, and I grew from $1 to several $100 million. That gave me the financial independence. At that time, I created a foundation. My wife, Debbie, and I created a foundation, and the foundation funds the artistic causes, the educational causes, as well as the peace causes, so in my case, I've given a lot of money, a significant amount to U.S. Institute of Peace, because the fact it stands for peace and nonviolence, which is very important to me, and conflict resolutions and prevention of the war, which is also important. And also, we give a lot of money to the Kennedy Centers. We just gave several $7 million to my favorite university, Aligarh Muslim University in India. I strongly believe it. Aligarh changed my history, my destiny. Aligarh's leader have always stood for tolerance and respect for other faiths, and it is a beacon of hope.
So your work is not just limited to America.
No, it's limited to all over the world. So I believe what President John F. Kennedy once said, to whom much is given, much is expected. I was given a lot of opportunity to succeed. It is high time for me to give back to others so that they can have opportunity to achieve their dream. And in addition to what's important to me, making money is a great thing, and I made my money. But to me, the most rewarding thing is giving back to the community and to the country that you live and you care deeply. So one of the things what made me successful also is America's inclusiveness and openness. They gave me the opportunity. Those are the strengths and the values and the qualities that all of us can proudly and truly embrace. Going back to religion and intolerance, I said in India, my story can only happen in America. I would hope that many, many Muslims, many Christians, many other people in the lower caste in India, if you exploit their fullest potential, they can be a shining city upon a hill. Now, philanthropist thing is important to me because when I give money to the charitable organizations, I am not giving money because they are charitable. I'm giving them money because I believe in their cause. I'm making investment to create the future generations. And also, it is my hope and fondest hope and expectation is that when I give money to someone to succeed, they will in turn give money to others. So this will make it sustainable, and that will become a part source of the America and renewing the American dream and revitalizing America.
Very good. So from again, it's a very large spectrum, not just education or art, but what is closer to your heart? Education, art, politics. What would you...
Education.
Education. And why?
And I will shed some light on, and a bright light on this thing. First of all, if I had not got an education I would not have been in this country. If I have not gone to Aligarh Muslim University, I would not have been in this country. So I owe them a sense of gratitude. That's the reason I gave this much, what I consider investment in creating the next generations. My parents instilled in me the love of education, which was very important to me. Education empowers people. Education gives dignity and respect to the people. It's a powerful equalizer to lift people out of the poverty, lifts your soul. And the most important, President Obama once said that it will be the currency of the 21st century. We need to empower, especially the Muslims, with education. And education is important to all of us. I cannot sit there and say today that without education, I would not be here today. Education creates a common cause, so we can all move forward with our life. And education also inspires the people. Education moves a country forward. Education creates the leadership.
Very good. Frank, we just have to take a very short break here.
Okay.
And after we come back, we'll talk about a little bit more about your lifestyle, I guess.
I wanted to say one more thing about
Sure.
education. Education frees the human mind from the shackles of ignorance.
And we'll talk about that too.
Okay.
Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's unfortunate that our religion has been hijacked by the extremists, by the people who believe in violence, who believe in who has a hatred in their heart.
Welcome back. I'm Faiz Rahman, and we were talking to Frank Islam, our guest today. Yes, Frank, you were talking about education and the importance of education. But these days, the young mind is a confused mind, not just here in this country, but all over the world, more so in the Muslim world. They have lost, not all of them, quite a few of them, they have lost their way. That's why you see so much chaos and mayhem in the Muslim lands all across. So what's your take on it? What do you think? What has gone wrong? Islam is very clear. The Prophet himself was very clear on the importance of education. Iqra, the first word he learned from by the Quran was read or study. So what has gone wrong? Why the Muslim world is so far behind when it comes to education and learning?
In the Middle Ages, in the 10th century, the Muslim gave all of us the algebra, the trigonometry, the mathematics, the medical sciences, the chemistry. They all came from the Muslim world in the mid century, to the 10th to 14th century. Europe lived in dark ages when the Muslims were advanced in all of these things. It's unfortunate that our religion has been hijacked by the extremists, by the people who believe in violence, who believe in who has a hatred in their heart. That's not what our faith stands for. Our faith always stood for equality, dignity, tolerance, and respect for other faith. That's what Prophet Muhammad preached us. And under the Prophet Muhammad in Medina, there were Jews lived there and there were Christians lived there under his umbrella. So we always have been a champion of a peace and nonviolence. We have always been champion of equality, giving respect to others. My advice to the young Muslims, and for that matter all over the world, is be the best you can be, get a good education, exploit your fullest potential, stay true to you, and do something special for someone in particular. Write your own legacy, create your own journey, and when you're successful, give opportunity to others to succeed. And always be guided by our community that always believe in decency, ingenuity, creativity, equality. That's what the Muslim faith is stood for. That's what you should also believe in it, in that spirit. And the most of all that I believe, make investment for others to succeed. And the madrasa should become what I consider a temple of tolerance. A madrasa should not only teach the religion, which is important, but it also should teach in such a way that they become part of the 21st century workforce. As a result, they were part of the global economy.
Are you, since you brought this up, madrasas, so in any way you've been involved with some madrasas to make sure that, you know, maybe we can bring some correction, some sanity to some of those madrasas and their curricula?
Well, first of all, I have not been involved in madrasa, but I do believe they have a very important role to play. And madrasa has been there in the Muslim religion for many, many years. And they play a very important role. But what they need to do is to create the workforce so these people can learn a talent, learn the technology, learn the tools, so they become a productive part of the workforce. And I think that is not what's happening in madrasa. And they also, the madrasa and mosque needs to become a place, I call them a temple of tolerance, to give a dignity and respect to others. And also, when I lived in Azamgarh, and I lived side by side with Hindus and the Christians, and with all of them were there to make sure that we have a shared goals and shared responsibility and the shared sacrifice. So please join me in this journey so we can together build a noble mansion so that our children can dwell, so that our children can prosper, so that our children can have a bright future. And the future, we need to make sure that we can make our own fate and future. It's a future that beckons to us all. And the important thing is all the peoples in Muslims world, and for that matter everywhere, I would say to the young people, your best is ahead of you, not behind you.
Frank, you and your wife have a foundation named after
yes.
yourself and your wife. So what does it do? And
well, the foundation that we created after I sold the business, because it was important for me to give back to the community and the country that we deeply care and love. And the purpose of the foundation is to fund artistic causes, which is the Kennedy Centers and Statmore that I funded, and the U.S. Institute of Peace, which is the Peace. And also, the most important thing that I do from the foundation, we give a lot of money, and for the good causes. The causes is the universities. I give a lot of scholarship program to the students who have financial hardship at Colorado in this country, as for that matter in Aligarh University as well in India. And there is a school that will be named after us, it's Frank and Debbie Islamic School of Management, Aligarh Muslim University. Aligarh shaped my history, my journey, and my destiny. As I said, that without Aligarh, I would not be here today. So that was important to me to create the next generation. I want people to be inspired by my story and my journey, where I came from, and how I became successful, so they can attain and achieve this dream. And everybody's capable of achieving the dream if they aim high and work hard and pursue their dream.
You work with lots of politicians.
I try to.
and politics is sometimes, very cruel. I mean, politicians have to say things that they not totally believe in. And since Muslim is not a very sizable community here, and with so much chaos and so much violence happening outside this country, not a very popular community as well. So, and you being a very quintessential, successful Muslim American, an example of tolerance and success and what have you, when you meet with them, and your name itself, you don't even have to.
Oh, I don't have to tell them
Mr.
who I am.
Frank Islam, and
right.
Here you go.
Well, let me shed some light on this thing. First of all, why do we engage in political activity? That's the first question I think you asked. The politics defines the landscape of this nation, and politics also creates a framework for exceptionalism, for America's exceptionalism, and also that allows the capitalism to grow, and the democracy to flourish. It also creates a common cause. And so we want to make sure that we participate in political process and democracy so that we have voice, so that we have a seat on the table, so make sure that they hear our voice.
You hosted Vice President Biden
I did,
at your house,
and I hosted many other senators, and hosted many. I hosted the governors, and I continue to host not only the political fundraising campaign, but I also host a lot of interfaith dialogue, which I believe in it, to build the bridges of understanding and cooperation between various faiths.
Do you think there is a good understanding of the overall Muslim world? I mean, they just don't tend to be influenced by these fanatics and extremists.
And that's what my belief is, that that most of the Americans are well educated and understand Islam, and the President spoke many, many times, and this is that we don't have a war against Islam. We have a war against the terrorists and the terrorism, which is they breed violence and they're extremists, and that's not what our faith Islam stands for. And the President said many times. I really, it is a human psychology and this is how human think, that something goes wrong somewhere and some extremists, and especially what extremists are doing, beheading all these Christians and burning, one person from Jordan, they share their faith, their history, their heritage, they're Muslims. And that comes to the people's mind that this is what Islam does. But Islam does not breed violence. Islam does not believe in violence. Islam has always stood for tolerance and decency and humility. So my job is to not preach them, not to teach them. This is not who I am. This is not the way it should be. But especially shine a bright light on this thing. That's not what Islam is stood for. But we all have a shared goal. We are in this together. It's a lifelong journey. It's a constant journey. So my job is, as a Muslim, and I think the job is all the Muslims, Americans, everybody, not just Muslim American, to talk about how do we create this interfaith dialogue between the Muslims and the other faiths, so we can build the bridges of understanding and cooperation. So the politicians I think they understand it, and I think the politician has a very good understanding about these things. And I think the President understands it, the White House understands it, and I think everybody understands it. Unfortunately, those extremists have hijacked our faith and our religion. And since having a name like Rahman and Islam, we do become a target. But we need to make sure that these young Muslims in this country do not become extremists. We have a responsibility to teach them. We have a responsibility to tell them how much we love them. We have a responsibility to give them a job, to educate them so they can attain their dream.
We just have a few moments left.
Sure.
What's your next big thing? What you want to do?
Well, my next big thing is to continue to do what I'm doing, is to serve the humanity and to give back to our country and a community. And also, it's a lifelong journey. I haven't
set any New Year's goal? No,
I don't really have any goals.
Since we're still in the,
as I said, the life has just begun for me, and it will continue on. What I will be inspired by, if I can create many, many frank Islams, and I can create the next generation, because they have enormous responsibility on their shoulder, so they can achieve their dream and also give back to the country and the community and make the investment. And that's what it's much more rewarding to give than make money. So this is what my desire and the drive and the discipline and dream is.
Very noble goal indeed. Thank you very much for joining us today.
You're most welcome. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with
me. Absolutely. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Cafe DC. I'm Faiz Rahman, and our guest today, Mr. Frank Islam, saying goodbye to you for this week.